Hey folks, this is Vent with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out Heroes Hour Rogue Realms. Rogue Realms is a DLC that is available on Steam for about $8. You will need the core game Heroes Hour in order to make use of this particular DLC. And I've been messing around with it for a little bit, and based on what I can tell, it introduces a new rogue faction, and I'll show you that in a minute. I played one match with the AI, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed that particular faction. I was summoning units like no one's business. I'll go ahead and just quickly show you that in a minute. Other things that this particular DLC has to offer, according to the Steam store page: 67 new units, 24 new heroes, 12 different towns, 28 new skills for heroes, new and old, a new set of units for each of the 12 factions, 25 new town buildings for various factions, and new war machines, new map types, and more. I'll let you guys read more about that on the Steam store page. It'd be boring if I just kept reading all of that off to you. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new game, and I'm going to show you the rogue faction down here. And I chose the Redwood as my starting faction, and each one obviously has their own unique skill trees. Like Dravis here, let's go back. Rogue, there we go. So Dravius has the Horde talent tree and the Estates talent tree. And to be fair, some of these I've seen on other factions. So some of these you may be familiar with. And then you got Esma over here, who has the Horde and the Midas Touch talent trees. Just pause if you want to see these in greater detail. Vendur, this faction. I was the Redwood faction. I was able to call beasts, which basically just summon stuff throughout combat. And I also had a bonus to my summoning spells. So not only was I able to, create units, I was able to do them a lot better, which is really cool. And you can level up these skills multiple times depending on your hero level. Your heroes level up as you play. There's also the Oakheart over here, and he can also do Call Beasts, that's one talent tree, and the other one is Hegemony. After combat, allows the hero to spend Sulfur to create Bloomer for their army. And then lastly, the Experiment faction, I guess. Doc Tess, Creativity. After combat, gives the hero a chance to learn a new skill at a small experience cost, and Resurrection teaches a resurrection spell. Kind of cool if you like regenerating units and bringing them back to life. Or you can choose Ector here, and he's got the Creativity perk as well as the Mercurial, which is spend 1 Mercury each day if possible, and creates Mercurial creatures for the hero's army. So just basically free units, assuming you've got Mercury. And Mercury is a resource that you pick up. Now, if you've never heard of Heroes Hour, you're probably like going, what the heck are you talking about? What's all this stuff? I'm going to assume that you know the basics already. It's a top-down, pixelated sort of strategy, turn-based strategy game. And you're going to be starting with a small general, and you're going to be constructing buildings in a town to recruit these armies to attach to that hero, and then you send them out and you kill things in your neighborhood to, get more experience points so you can level up. You also can capture buildings that you can generate resources, and you can find treasure and other cool things. And your ultimate goal is to wipe out your opponent, which starts in their own territory. So that's the general gist of it. Again, this particular video is going to focus more on this particular faction, this particular DLC. I'm going to go ahead and just choose the Redwood, and I'm not going to play a full game or anything like that. My goal is just to show you the buildings that are available to you. So here's a quick look at that. Let's jump into town. And this is probably where we're going to spend most of your time. You can build 1 building per turn like you would typically in this game. This is what they offer. They've got Overgrowth, which allows you to build these bloomers. And I'm going to hit Shift to expand that tooltip. Pause if you want to see any of that in greater detail. My favorite part about Overgrowth is that with this unit, there's 2 that you can pick, the Lynx or the Bloomer. With the Bloomer, they're immortal. If they would die, they go into hibernation, then they come back to life, and then every time they come back to life, there's a chance that they won't, and that chance increases every time they die. So they're, they'll be resurrected and then possibly again, but the chances of them being resurrected go down. They've got village expansion and verdant hut. That's something that they automatically start with. Library unlocks 4 spells, 2 minor and 2 major, and also increases gold income by 500. The tavern, which is typical, allows you to hire additional heroes on top of the one that you start with. And again, you attach armies to these heroes and send them out to do things. Thorn Tower, dwelling that allows you to create Mana Bird, or Vixen. Those are the 2 different units there. Again, oops, I just hit skip turn by accident. That's okay, I wasn't actually playing. Coming back to here. So, meant to hit shift. There we go. So the Mana Bird has flying, buffer, and empower. And again, pause if you want to read about these more in greater detail. My favorite part about this Mana Bird is that it has buffer, which is when the hero controls these units, casts a spell costing mana. Every 2 of these units can refund 1 mana once per battle. And you get I can't remember, what is that? Says 5 of them. So you're basically getting almost a free cast or 2 every single turn, unless it's a really high-powered spell. But still, that's really cool. You can cast spells and not waste mana, and mana takes time to regenerate in between battles. The Vixen, on the other hand, is more melee-oriented. Enemies struck by this creature are weakened. They lose 5% of their maximum health, damage, and speed. They also attack more often. They've got the trade expansion, which is typical. The marketplace, which is typical. Martial expansion, again, just more gold generation. Colossus. When constructed, the Colossus will create 1 prismatic unit. Additionally, it increases gold income. Hospital, it's typical across all factions, well, most factions. When you die, or when you lose units, there's a chance that they will come back to life here. The Tree Walker Tower, you can construct or recruit Dryads or Grizzlies. The Dryads, and my favorite part about them, is they've got the Aura of Light. This creature periodically restores health to all nearby allies, which is great. They've got some other things too. The Grizzly, this creature is difficult to knock back, has wide attacks, has a taunt, strikes terror and causes enemies to flee when struck, at least percentage chance. Engineer's Workshop lets you build catapults so that you can, shoot at the enemy town and weaken their defenses. Watering Well increases weekly growth of all units by 50%. Elemental Spire teaches any adventurers going there new spells. Arson expansion is more for gold. Mercenary Hall lets you just recruit creatures at the cost of gold. Each faction has their own unique set of units that they can recruit, but with the Mercenary Hall, you can kind of step away from that and bring in other units that you normally wouldn't be able to see. Unicorn Glade allows you to construct this prismatic, which is another unit. Lieutenant Hall, which is kind of cool. You basically hire him at the cost of gold when you build this building, and he comes with his own units. So you don't have to worry about putting anything on him, like recruiting units and putting them on his character. He comes with his own team, and they are self-regenerating, but you cannot add any more to them. So it's a nice little sidekick to have. You've got the Hut of Beasts, which have regeneration. They regenerate health over time, and when they die, it summons 2 bloomers. Wall turrets for base defense also increases gold per day. The Wildren, again, hitting shift, has ranged, blaster, long ranged, and summoning. That's kind of cool. So again, pause if you want to read more about that in greater detail. Summoning circle on the bottom here allows summoning of non-faction units. The circle is tuned by using spells from a hero in town. Each spell gives access to a group of units, each with a different price. After paying, you gain the units, and the summoning circle must be tuned with a new spell. The deity increases the health and damage for all unit types that can be recruited in this town by 10%. This bonus applies to all your heroes across the map. Potentiator unlocks 3 ultimate spells, which will be taught to visiting heroes. Additionally, gives a permanent +2 increase to knowledge and spell power for casting-oriented heroes, or +2 attack and defense for fighting-oriented. It's one of my favorites. I build that as soon as I can. Just passive buffs like that are great. Of course, I focus on the economy stuff first. Urban expansion increases gold per day, typical to other things we've seen. So there you go. That was a quick look at the various buildings that you have access to. And again, different heroes will have different skill trees. So, it'd be crazy of me to go through every single person's skill tree. It would just be too much. But I kind of gave you an overview on the previous title screen there. But yeah, that's a quick look at Heroes Hour. This particular expansion is pretty good. It's a little pricey though for only one faction. Yes, it does offer other things. It does like add more to the game, which isn't a bad thing. But if you don't play this game a whole lot, like look what comes with the base game already. Here's the new Rogue faction down here. And this is what comes already. Order, Pillar, Arcane, Decay, Pyre, Lament, Horde, Wild, Tide, Earthen, Enclave, Delirium. So like that, the one faction being $8, even on sale. I mean, compare that to the core game, which you can sometimes find them in a bundle. Let's see if I can find real quick. Heroes Hour is by default $18. So it's just weird that the game is priced at $18, but one faction is $8. This Rogue faction, plus extras, of course. But still, like, I feel it's a bit of a high price. If you play a lot of this game, you're going to get it anyway. But my advice is, if you've never played this game before, maybe just focus on these other... I mean, there's plenty of content here. These 12 other factions, they all play differently, for the most part. So check them out first, try them out, see if you like them, and then if you are really invested in this game, maybe get the Rogue one, but it's not a necessary one, in my opinion. You can still have a lot of fun with the core game. But that being said, I got a free copy from the developer, and I'm really enjoying the Rogue faction. Otherwise, I would have waited for a sale probably. Well, there you go. That was Heroes Hour again, and it's DLC. If you guys haven't already, subscribed to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way, you can stay up to date with any new content I can publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Take care.